Hello and welcome to the Stay Healthy Experience. I am Robert Ferguson, and soon I'll be joined with my co-host, Ms. Barbara Kris. We call her BK. And today we have a special in-studio guest. I'm going to say a long-term friend, someone who is living the diet-free life. And we're going to kind of do a sneak peek and give people an opportunity to kind of hear what it's like when you embrace it and you move to a place where you live it. We'll get that started right now. And fortunately, we are lucky to have one of my clients in here who's lived it and has seen it over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the show, we're going to toss to an interview that you and I did with one of your clients who had very good success also with the diet-free life methodology. But the main goal is to kind of just give people a glimpse because, Carin, as you know, it sounds sometimes too good to be true.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when it comes to being able to not just lose weight, but improve overall health and optimize energy throughout the day. Yep. And I'm so thankful that when I put it out there, the timing was good for you to kind of come on board. And here we are. Yep. And I promise not to mention your starting weight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But the day will come where you're going to probably share it with people because people won't believe you. Unless you tell them where you come from.
Yeah. True.
And sometimes they won't believe that until you show them a photo.
Right.
Absolutely.
They want to see it.
And guess what? And they still won't believe you. I learned years ago after reading the Bible when they saw Jesus walk on water and they still didn't believe him. I mean, what would it take? It's like, bro, if I floated and I said, I want you to believe. Yeah. And you saw me float.
You do that though sometimes already. I see it.
But would that be like considered disbelief in that moment of like you just can't believe what you're seeing?
This is denial. It's just straight
or
denial.
Yeah. Denial.
Would it be?
I don't know.
Because seeing is not always believing.
Sometimes it just tricks your brain. Like you don't even realize what you're seeing. Sometimes
you think
your brain
you've gone
connecting
crazy.
Yeah. Remember that song? It wasn't me.
Yes, I do know that one. Yeah. I'm not going to sing it for you.
Shaggy? Is that Shaggy?
That's Shaggy.
Yeah. We're not going to sing it right now.
Right.
Though.
And then, remember the Rodney King beatings? Ugh. They were like, no, we didn't hit him that many times. Dude, we got beat.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, I know.
But it did.
But although I would say I would like to know or see your before photos too. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did some reminiscing, but seriously, like, what is the thing that you would want people to know that you have discovered with the way you're eating and taking care of yourself? Like, what is that one thing that you could share that people would love if they had the opportunity to experience it?
Well, just the way I feel, like just this past year has been horrible, like for everybody being home and just that loss of energy and, being in that survival mode of taking care of your family. And just, for me, I just wasn't even thinking about myself. And then I just got to that point where I was just tired all the time, like just sluggish. I felt horrible. Like my gut felt horrible. And then to just embrace this and to eat the diversity of foods and just to switch it up all the time and not get into that routine of that monotonous, like eating the same thing every day. Like that has just opened up a world for me. Like I don't like to eat the same thing every day. I'm not one of those people that's like, here it is, the same thing every day. Like my children are like that, but I'm not. And so that has been like the game changer for me is that diversity in food and the simplicity of putting things together. If you get your protein and then you work from there, that has just been the biggest thing. And I feel like that people can just grasp onto that. It's not hard. Like I don't like count my calories. I mean, I know like the rule, kind of the rules, the guidelines and stay within those, but I write down my food every day, but I don't write down like that's this many calories and this. And right. For me to see it and be accountable, this is what I ate today. I just want to be accountable for myself. But it's so simple and easy. And I feel so good. Like my stomach, like my gut feels so much better, like all the time. And that's a weird feeling for me, like to not, like I wake up and I think, I don't feel like great or whatever when I get up in the morning. But I'm like, my stomach feels great. I feel great. Like, let's go. So I can regain that energy. So, and I work in a really high stress, lot of responsibility job.
And that's something that I'm sitting over here thinking, I'm going, okay, so Barbara, it's good to know that she has a very demanding job.
Right. Yeah. I know. So I wanted to kind of like butt in there with some questions because I know that, well, before we started rolling, I was asking Carin a little bit about how long she's known you, and it's been a long time.
14 years. So 2006 is, probably before then. So you were at the Total Woman gym.
Oh, you remember me at the Total Woman gym?
I used to take your kickboxing classes.
Oh,
and then you guys did the 9-week challenge.
So the more you talk, the more I'm remembering you.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And you had rhythm, actually.
A little bit, yeah.
When I was telling Barbara, when I used to teach that class, at one point, I mean, that was a good class.
That was a great class.
I used to have this woman that would come and go right to the front. And when everyone went right, she went left. But in her mind,
she had it.
She was getting down.
She had it. Who
was
cares?
getting down.
And who cares at the end of the day? She was moving.
I actually cared. So.
I actually cared.
Was she making you look bad?
Remember, I said I literally had to I came up with a way to get her to think I was complimenting her. Mm-hmm. So I said, hey, look, you're great. So I always have people over in that corner that need a little help. And if you wouldn't mind, if you were over there, it would make everything smoother. She was like, oh, got it.
That's an awesome reverse psychology move.
Yes.
You found that came in really well with parenting.
Yes.
How to get your children to do something that they don't want to do.
Until they pick it up and then they use it on you.
Exactly. And then you're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
But with a busy, crazy schedule.
Yeah, back to that.
I do have a busy
You're
schedule,
able to make it work. Because a lot of times people won't begin the journey of losing weight or eating healthier because they feel like it won't fit their schedule.
Absolutely.
It totally fits your schedule. I work 16 hours a day. So from the time I get up till the time I go to bed is about a 16-hour day, just with the whole having to homeschool the littles and, lunches and dogs and kids and then taking phone calls in between. And I work in an administrative role, so I have more responsibility than other people. And so I constantly take phone calls and email all day long. And sometimes I stay up way late into the evening to get all my paperwork done because I don't necessarily get it done during the day. So it definitely, it fits, it just fits into my lifestyle, but it's a conscious choice. You have to choose every morning to get up and make good choices.
Right.
They're not hard choices to make, but you have to choose that. You have to choose to live this way. It's very easy to give yourself permission. And I talk to Robert about this all the time. It's I don't like to give myself permission to do certain things. If I start to give myself permission and then I start to stray, maybe.
Oh, it's like a slippery slope.
Yeah. So it's, and we can eat things that we want to eat. But if knowing myself, and that's important, you need to know who you are. So sweets are my biggest thing. And so if I start to give myself permission every day to have something sweet, although it fits in, it's still, I can watch those numbers. I don't get the results I want. And so I know. And then all of a sudden I'm craving sweets and I want them more and more. And then I find myself totally derailed and off in the bushes.
I could totally relate to that, even with me. I'm the same way. But you made a good point about how every morning you make this, it's a choice that you make. Do you feel can you put your finger on, was there a transitional period for you where you went from thinking that, it was kind of a hard choice to make to now it's more natural? Because I have clients who oftentimes think that having to be mindful and make that choice, for them, it's almost, I think, especially early on, they feel that it's more, they're almost they're missing out on something. They can't see the long-term results of making those mindful choices in the moment. Right?
I don't, and I know you're supposed to make goals and stuff. I don't think too long-term. I don't want to think that because that for me seems so far away. I'm in the moment right now. What are we doing this week? And so it's just one day at a time. And it's the self-talk. You have to talk to yourself, but you have to choose because you're accountable. So, everybody's a little bit different, but there's no, and I've heard you talk before, when's there's no right time. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it today and start in baby steps and work it into your routine and get into it. And don't beat yourself up every day. If you have a bad day, get back up tomorrow and have a better day.
Exactly. And I would have to say you probably experience the same thing too, where you have clients, or maybe you've heard of other people too, they keep putting it off. And the only thing when they finally do get started, the only thing they regret is they think, I wish I would have started, 6 months ago when I was just thinking about this. It didn't get any easier starting now.
Any procrastination. When you procrastinate something you have to do, the minute you do it, you're like, why didn't I just do that before? I feel so much better now. Just knowing you'll feel so much better.
But the ongoing challenge is that they don't know that it could be experienced the way you're experiencing it. Right. So like this morning I was watching, like I watch YouTube a lot, and oftentimes I like to hear other people in the space of weight loss, doctors, people, nutritionists, and I like to listen to them, and they guide people to total restriction and deprivation. And it's almost like you got to get yourself wired up to begin this diet because you're going to be avoiding a lot of things.
Yeah. It is. It's all in the mindset, because I've lived like that.
Right.
And that's like probably one of the most detrimental things I've probably ever done to myself, is just not eating. Like how horrible it is for your body. And I've probably done like long-term damage where like I've had to really rehone my eating and watch what I eat and make these adjustments along the way and watch. But like I've done all of those things, and they make it worse on the other end if you don't, maintain it.
Yeah.
So
okay, so let's talk about some of the fun things about how so I'm not giving you your start weight, but do you mind if I mention like around how much you've lost? Do you know how much you've lost?
25 as of today.
26.
Wow.
26.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is today her check-in?
My calculations were
Well, I think it's 25.4 or something like that.
Almost 26,
That's
but yeah, I
awesome.
hit 25. So this is beginning of 12 weeks, I think, or this is my 12th week.
Yeah, you're moving into your 12th week.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we stopped doing her glucose a while back because it's under
was
control.
yeah.
There is no resistance. So after a while, you don't even need to look at that.
Yeah.
So she
Right.
owns that marker. And then you're down 3 inches on your waist.
Ooh.
And your body fat is down. Barbara, you will love this.
I gotta hear
6%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Impressive. That is a big
See, what
number.
happens is in our head, because we know what that number means.
Yeah.
We're like going, yeah.
Yeah, and how-
no! But
and
you
how
talk
hard
to
is
the
to
average
love that?
person, they're like, okay, so all right, sounds good.
No, I know what a big deal it is. And so
Right.
before like COVID happened, I was doing CrossFit 2, 3, 4 times a
Ooh,
week.
look at you go.
And my muscles were definitely more developed. I mean, my weight was still closer to where like I started this journey, but after COVID happened and we stayed home, like my weight didn't fluctuate very much. I remember sitting on the couch going, you were saying like people are going to gain like 15 pounds during this. I was like, no way. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. And then I'm baking bread and doing all these things to like keep peace in the house. And 'cause, we didn't know what was going on, and like you want to.
It was like that first month was great.
Protect your kids. Well, you want to protect your kids from everything. You don't want them to be stressed, and so you just go into this like survival
comfort.
mode.
Yeah, this
and
comfort mode. Yeah,
and that comfort mode just like continued for like a year, anyways, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you know what?
the 15.
Well,
Gaining
So-
the 15.
Well, thank God for that, because
I did.
I'm glad they closed my pool. So I have an apartment in Ventura.
Yeah.
And so the pool was there. So the first month I was like, you know what? It's 11 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I was going over. I was at the pool,
We all
making
were.
myself a little vodka. And I go buy a little wine for afternoon, go back to the jacuzzi. Oh,
then they closed it on you.
Then they closed it. Thank goodness. Because I would have just kept doing it.
You'd have been a raging alcoholic.
It was
by then.
interesting.
I remember I was going though because my body composition changed. I stopped working out.
Yeah.
And then my CrossFit gym never came back. Like they lost their business.
Oh,
in
is
it.
that
so
right?
I haven't been able to I haven't gone back
That's
to that.
a lot of
but
people.
while I didn't gain a ton of weight on the scale, my body composition changed though.
Mm-hmm.
Like my muscles, everything turned.
Yeah,
like,
you can feel
turned
that,
into
right?
fat. Like, I mean,
Like your clothes, you're like,
yeah,
what the hell?
I couldn't. That was the indicator. While the scale didn't change, my clothes didn't fit anymore, and that was like, okay, wait a second. And all my muscles basically like atrophied, and it just converted into all these empty calories I was eating.
Right.
And it was bad. I was giving myself permission to just eat whatever we wanted, and 2, 3, 4 carbs, like 6 carbs at a time. Like, hey, this is great. But that's where I was going with that, like where that 15 pounds, yes, but it was probably even more if you look at like the body composition as far as how things converted, and I got to the point where I'm like, man, I can't even like get my pants buttoned. And I refused, after I lost weight 3 years ago, like I refused to buy bigger pants. So the minute I couldn't button my pants anymore, I was like, I'm going to call Robert.
That's a horrible feeling when you can't wear a pair of pants.
Yeah, it is. It's
I bet people
bad
listening
feeling.
to this, so many people are going to relate to that because they're probably thinking if they don't really understand body composition, and they're looking at their scale and they're thinking, God, I've only gained, or maybe I haven't gained anything, but why is it that my clothes aren't fitting anymore? What's up? And they're not even realizing that their body composition
fat takes up so much space in your body. You know, people are like fat, muscle weighs more than fat. No, it doesn't. Like, it takes up more volume, but 1 pound is 1 pound on the scale, but it's how much area that fat takes up
the volume
is much bigger. So
that was such an insightful thing to share, because I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, damn.
Became best friends with my stretchy pants.
All right.
But even then, like, those were getting tight. I'm like, okay, when your workout pants are tight, like, it is time to do something. And then you ran the program for the 4, 5, 6, and I was like, I'm gonna do that.
Girl, this is
and
that
has been a game changer for me. Just working with you and that accountability, that's been a game changer for me. Like, I so suggest that to anyone. Like, just knowing we're gonna talk every week. Like, you don't even know how many times I'm like, I gotta talk to Robert later on, so I better not eat that. Like, that, it just helps me to be accountable. You know, and what I do, I keep kids accountable, and it's the same thing with adults. If we have someone to be accountable for and to answer to, and like have to talk about our, you know, what we're going through, it helps me so much.
Well, let me ask you this: when you meet someone, so imagine you see Barbara on a bus and you don't know her, and the bus is held up, and you're gonna end up talking for 30 minutes. And Barbara mentions, "Yeah, hey, man, I gotta lose some weight. I'm gonna go and do this program." And you're like, "Hey, let me tell you what I just recently did." How would you describe the methodology, the Diet Free Life methodology, to someone that you don't know?
Basically, you know, it's a lifestyle change, you know, but it's not a diet. You know, it's just a way of combining your foods together in a way that makes your body work, you know, and burn fat. So, and then I would tell them about, you know, the different combinations of the food that you can eat and how simple it is. And it's not even about all these prepackaged food or anything like that. It's just the foods that you eat every day, but it's the combinations that you eat them in, and then the portions that you eat.
So what do you mean when you say, like,
so I build
lifestyle change? What is that? Because that would scare some people, right? So it used to be, at least in the infomercial world, they would never say lifestyle change because they were like, people wouldn't buy. But today, the world that we live in, I feel that people are more open to that because they're looking for transparency.
Yeah.
So would you guys both agree that it would be okay to say lifestyle change, or do you think that could scare some people off?
Well,
I think it's the truth, and I think it needs to be said.
Yeah.
Like, whether people get scared or not, like, they need to understand that you have, in order to maintain and live and be healthy, you want it to range over your lifetime.
Yeah.
So you need to change some of those things. Maybe you're not changing your lifestyle in like what you do as a job and the things you do as hobbies, but like your eating lifestyle needs to, you know.
I get it now.
Yeah,
so I don't have to give up my Mercedes and drive a Pinto.
No, just your eating lifestyle.
I was really thinking you're going to say something.
What do you think I was going to say?
I don't know, but you know, it's a good point, because I would have to say, I'll just think of like this past year, of all the new clients that I've signed, hands down, they've all done some kind of diet at one point or another, and they will all, one of the first things that they say is, I need a way to learn how to eat food. I need a new lifestyle, because whatever I did in the past, whatever diet or thing they did, I wasn't able to keep it up. Or I got results and then I have since put on all that weight back. Yep. Or they just said they tried it. I had a couple people who tried other diets, and, you know, a couple weeks in, they're like, hell no. They just couldn't.
You can't.
They just couldn't do it.
I tried them all. They're like exhausting. They're exhausting. I mean, just the constant, like, you have to think about, like, does this go with this? And like, and it's exhausting. I don't have time for that. Yeah, like, and as busy as my life is, I don't have time.
Right, and it's almost like they had to experience it themselves, almost like the fact that it wouldn't last.
Yeah.
In order for them to actually realize, I need a lifestyle. It was, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe that without going through any kind of, you know, turmoil with weight, that they went straight to lifestyle. You know what I mean? I think at some point they were maybe thinking that there was a quick way or a quicker way to do it, and then just keep it off, and they didn't have to really change maybe some of the things that they were doing with their food. And then now that they kind it didn't stick, then I guess it's true that it's more of a lifestyle. It's almost like they have to go through that first.
Well, it's so tough because, and I hear exactly what you're saying. You guys are both making great points, and I know it's resonating with some people. But there's so much clutter. There's so much information out there that you don't know what you're looking for. It's kind of like if you think of slavery, right? When Harriet Tubman went back to those people that were enslaved, and she said, hey, there's freedom. I can take you guys to freedom. They couldn't get what she was saying because they never seen freedom.
Yep.
So how can you really talk about or sell something to someone where they can't even conceptualize what that potentially could be? You know what I mean?
If you don't know, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. So like when you did a challenge back in the day, then you kind of tiptoed into it. Yeah. It's like, hey, that worked. That kind of made sense. That worked. So you were kind of prepared to do it. But then someone who doesn't have any idea, then they're like, I just luckily tapped into it. Because how would they know what to look for?
Yeah, it is. It's hard to filter, and we live in a society where like we just want results quickly.
Yeah.
So, and advertising and all that kind of stuff sucks people in, and they think, well, geez, like you look at all those before and after pictures, and you're like, oh my gosh, that could be me, and you just get sucked into it, but you have no idea that that's not like maybe a real picture, or it's photoshopped, or or that's just a one-off situation, or that person actually did something totally different, but they're using their picture for this, advertising campaign. There's so much behind all of that for me, this is just like the simplicity of it. It's just real, but it is. I mean, you have to experience it for yourself. You have to choose to experience it. So,
all right. So I got a question for both of you guys.
Okay.
And you've heard me talk about this. I don't know if you have, but at one point when I was taking the program that you once did with the challenge, and we were starting to work with insurance companies, when they did an evaluation of the methodology, it was rated at 16th grade reading level. So they said, Robert, if you want to go national, you need to get it down to 4th grade reading level. So you have to really simplify this thing.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
And if I went to 6th grade, I could be in all the states except for Arkansas, by the way. So Arkansas was the only state that you had to have it down to 4th grade reading level.
Okay.
So this is not a dig or beat up on Arkansas.
Right. No, but
it's just what it is.
A reflection of the education level.
Yes.
At the national level, like across the board when they look at averages and things like that.
Right.
Wow.
And so as we began the work of doing that, and then there's a program in Word that helps you kind of like get your sentences down to where...
A real simple...
Yeah, and then you have to show proof that you did all of that. So as I'm doing all of that, we then took the program and I called 2 teachers that live in Ventura County who they were successful with Diet Free Life, the method. And I said, hey, can I come and do a presentation for your first graders? So we got 60 first graders, and I went and did a presentation on how to make a fat burning meal, how to combine the foods in the right proportion. In 45 minutes, all of the kids, it was pass or fail, they all passed.
Wow.
Then the teachers got invited to come in. I did the exact same presentation. I didn't cut any corners. If you were there, I did it exactly the same. Same mannerisms, same punchlines, everything was the same, and less than 50% of them passed.
Wow.
That's why you're an educator. I want to hear why.
Because they already have all their preset ideas and things that they came with. And teachers are the worst people to teach to, for one. And I can say that because I've been a teacher for 20 years. They're like the worst crowd, because we know everything. No, I'm just kidding. We don't know everything. But they talk a lot. You go to a conference and teachers are always teaching. Like presenting to teachers is not easy. But they came with all they're adults. They came with all their preset ideas of things that they've done and everything and all the knowledge that they've got along the way, whether it was incorrect or not. And little kids are innocent. They come in and they
sponge.
They are sponges and they absorb everything you say as fact. Like you're saying it, you're an adult. Like, oh, it must be right. It's correct. So, but then they don't have all these preconceived ideas either. So you're teaching to a clean slate versus a slate that's overly used.
Like you said, there's so much out there. There's so much information. And I think a lot of people have a little bit of all this different kind of information. And so then if you're teaching them about the methodology, then they're in their head, rather than listening, they're trying to be like, well, how is that wrong? trying to figure out what you're saying is wrong.
Oh, yeah,
because-
it becomes more of I'm overcoming objections the entire time.
As opposed to learning, they're thinking of, well, that's not what I know. You're not telling me what I know already, so it's not matching.
So it was like a couple of things that come to mind when you were saying that was, I'll never forget, I go, so oatmeal is a fast carb, and cream of wheat is a fast carb, malted meal is a fast carb, grits is a fast carb. And one lady goes, no. So you're telling me oatmeal is a fast carb? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, all hot cereal and cold cereal, they're fast carbs.
Yeah.
She goes, nah.
Oh my gosh.
She goes, no, that would be slow. That's like slow. I do original still cut. She went into this whole thing, and I go, ma'am, fast carb doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
It's just a fast carb. So that's why it was harder to teach that group because I kept getting interrupted like that. You know what I mean? So anytime I would go over something, if I say carrots are a slow carb, no, carrots are high in sugar. Ma'am, I mean,
but then everybody else is listening to her, so it's like they're derailing. It's like when you're in court and someone says something and they say overruled, like sit down, be quiet, but it's already out. Like everybody heard it already. It starts to change your thinking.
Yeah, you can't pull that back once you.
No, I do a thing with kids about like bullying and the words that you say, and I give groups of kids like toothpaste and on a plate, and I tell them like squeeze a little bit out. And then like, okay, squeeze some more out. And then like we squeeze all of it. Now squeeze it all out on the plate. Now put it back in the, in the
tube.
Now put it back in the tube. And they look at you like, you can't put it back in the tube. Well, you can't take back what you say out loud to people. You have to be careful. You can't take it back. If you can't put that toothpaste back in, you can't put your words back in your mouth.
All right, Joyce Meyer.
You can't do those. So that's a fun one. You can do that with teachers too. It's really fun. Like it's a good, just a fun
that was great
activity. But it's a good one because the reality is, unless you have a special machine,
you can't.
That toothpaste ain't going back in that tube.
Yeah.
Well, I called you Joyce Meyer. You know who that Joyce Meyer is?
Not off the top of my head.
She's a very empowering evangelist.
Oh, okay.
And she's based in Missouri, and she always has great words of wisdom and analogies and metaphors like that. And so you made me think of her. Oh, awesome. I like that. Awesome. I'm gonna use that with my kids this weekend. Actually,
that's actually
you should just do it with them. Get a tube of toothpaste. Give them each
one. Now put it back in.
Now put it on. Now put it back in. Squirt a little bit out, and just do it a little bit at a time, and then go. Now squirt it all out on the plate.
So that's all that disrespect that you give me.
That's right.
Try to put that back.
Words,
you can't do it.
And it's true though. It is true. Those words that you say to people, and words can hurt so much more.
Well, you're so optimistic. So to give you an example. Like one, I don't coach anyone that I don't look forward to talking to.
Perfect.
Right? That's very important.
It is.
At this age of my life, it's like, I gotta
fight with people.
I gotta have fun.
Yeah.
And it's nice when, so she's the kind of client and person that I look forward to dialing. Because you're always upbeat and you can't pretend every week. So it's gotta be real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who are pretending. Right. And they put on the happy face.
Oh, to be upbeat.
But they're just miserable. Which is okay because we can work with that.
Right.
But I just love the energy that you bring to the table and how it's just lifting. So thank you for being a lifting type of person.
Thank you.
Right.
I
I'm around Barbara a lot. And
I just bring him down.
Bring him down. You have to be happy. You have to, make the best out of this life. I mean, I share with you what I do, and it's hard, but you have to rise above it. You can't let it, bring you down. So, you got to make the best out of. You only get to live one life.
And that's a good point because I think that sometimes with health, or let's say with weight loss, oftentimes I think people believe that they have to be perfect in order to succeed. Yeah. And what would you say to someone who's thinking that way, as far as focusing on being perfect, or having that mindset of having to have everything done perfectly in order to get results? And when they don't, obviously there's no way they're going to be perfect, right?
There's no such thing as perfection.
So then how do you
can't be perfect. But you have to learn how your body responds to things. My body's not going to work the same way as your body is or yours. Like, we're not going to respond the same way. And just like we've been working through like the combinations and like getting, try not to avoid fast carbs in the evening. And that's made a huge difference for me. Well, I didn't want to hear that. It's made a huge difference for me, and I have to look at that. But you have to just get up every day and just make those choices and know, like, you're not perfect. Some days are not as good as others, and some weeks your results won't be what you want them to be. But that's a good time to look at, why aren't they where you want them to be? Are you stressed out? Like, did you eat your portions of food correctly? Did you eat? Did you drink your water? Did you move? Like, and so for me, when my numbers aren't where I want them to be, I have to look back and go, okay, what do I need to improve on? And then if I can't find it, then I can ask Robert, well, what do you think I need to do? Because, and that's why I'm working with Robert, because I need that. Because otherwise, in the past, I would just be like, okay, keep trying. Then if I get discouraged, and then I'll just like let life take its.
I'm so glad you shared that.
There's no such thing as really being perfect. We're imperfect beings, so to expect to be perfect is.
I'm glad you shared that.
Wrong expectation.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think that if they do run into, let's say, even a couple weeks of progress, and are thinking, God, it's not moving, it's not doing what I want it to do, or my body's not responding the way I wish it would, rather than just giving up and, like you said, just kind of letting life take over. You're saying, I'm looking at, okay, well, what can I do? To get it, back on track, or to tighten some things up. Well, how did I eat? Did I eat? Am I drinking my water? Am I stressed, or whatever it may be? I think that's the difference, where people can sustain those types of results and then keep progressing, as opposed to just like.
And my goal is just to like slow and steady. Like, I want this for the long term. And so for me, if I was like, it was instantaneous and I got it all like right in the beginning, it would be really hard to maintain for the long haul. So I just want it slow and steady. It took a while to put it on, can take a while to take it off to make it permanent. So, and I want it to be the right weight that's coming off.
Like, have you guys ever seen someone get liposuction done?
I've only seen it like bits and pieces on TV.
No, I don't know anybody personally that I've seen.
So years ago I did a TV show in Europe, and it was called Your Best You, or something like that. It was a great title. And what happened in the show is they flew in these women from the UK, and they went to Beverly Hills, and they worked with the best cosmetic surgeons. And a lot of these guys are still on TV. I see them all the time. And they brought me as the nutrition and fitness guy. So prior to them getting their work done, and then afterward, I was there to help the recovery. Right, so I got to know these ladies really well, right? Because I'm eating with them. The surgeon comes in, does his work, and leaves. And so I got to go in on some of the surgeries. Whoa. So, they did it. I saw a tummy tuck, and I'm not the guy that can be around the medical stuff. Like, I just don't do well with that. Right? When my first daughter was born, I was like, they told me to sit down. The nurse said,
scrape you off the floor.
Oh yeah, because I was.
You got head down.
I was white as this desk.
Weak in the knees.
Oh, like really weak. And it is what it is.
You can't change who you are.
I didn't pass out, but I did have to sit down. Well, I went on, and the one that threw me off, and I saw a cranial. I saw some really nasty stuff, right? But the thing that threw me off the most was the liposuction. I think about it now, it freaks me out. And the reason I'm bringing it up, because it goes to the comment you made, is that people want it now. And years go by, and I was teaching kickboxing at Channel Islands in Port Hueneme area. And this lady goes to get lipo. And I watch her, I've seen her. She's come to class here and there, but she didn't really like the workout. So she was fed up, so she went and got lipo. And she wasn't really heavy. I would say maybe had 30 pounds she could probably lose, right? So she gets lipo, and I remember seeing her in the gym like 6 weeks later. She's walking around, she's feeling good, right? She's feeling good. And then about 3 months goes by, and I see her again, and I start to see her body it was really weird, odd.
What do you mean?
It took on a different shape.
Yeah.
I started seeing fat deposits like in certain areas of her body that weren't there before.
Oh. Ooh.
And that's because her lifestyle didn't support the work she had done.
Right.
And so then it got worse, right? Because now she's fighting to fix that, and she never got any of it fixed. And the only outcome that made sense was to just gain some weight so she would look somewhat normal, and hope that she gained the weight in the areas that won't make her look odd.
Oh, right. Like to almost backfill evenly, but
Right.
oh.
So imagine, you do that and you get a pocket of fat that pushes off to the side. And so you got a pocket that's sticking off your hip.
Oh.
Because you're not in charge of where it's going to come back.
You're
Right.
not.
Right?
You're not. Absolutely.
And it's that example of going for the shortcut, right? Short-term gain, but then experiencing long-term pain
Yeah.
or discomfort. So I love the slow and steady, the tortoise approach.
Yeah, I always tell them that. I'm like the tortoise in the hare.
And
I'm
that's
just the
great.
tortoise.
That is a great place to
When
be.
in high school, I was a long distance swimmer because I wasn't a fast swimmer at all. I've never just been like a fast athlete. So I always swam the long distance because I can just endure, and my race was 20 laps. It was 500 yards. Like
So the ones that jump out in front, you're like,
it
okay,
was
I'll see you.
It was a long, slow and steady race. You just had to like slow and steady, 20 laps.
That's what wins.
That was my event that I swam in high school. So, I'm not a sprinter, not a big runner. I was cracking up when I watched an interview of you the other day and you said you hated cardio.
I hate it.
Oh my gosh. I was
still hate it.
I'm like, I totally couldn't relate, but I like the results,
Yeah.
You like the results and you feel so much better, but
I did it this morning.
choice.
Did you do it this morning?
I did, in fact, for the 50 minutes, and I was thinking the same damn thing. I was like, man, this is a long damn time. But I did it.
I did it. I did it on the Stairmaster this morning.
good for you.
I was not happy about it.
And I kept looking at the clock. I was like, still?
It's only been 2 minutes.
But when it started ticking, getting up 48, 49, 50, I was like, whoa!
I could do it. I could do it.
Yes.
That's self-talk,
But
right?
yeah,
One more minute.
So we have to look at it too. Like we do. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to choose to maintain what you do. It's not like you just get up every day and do whatever you want.
Or like I'm like, yay, yay, cardio.
Yeah.
No, it's not that.
So share with those who are listening and with us the foods that you have been able to eat as you continue to lose weight and feel great.
Well, I love sushi, so I eat sushi like once a week. So that's like one of my favorites. So I definitely eat sushi, and I eat all kinds of meat, fish, chicken, pork, whatever. Variety of vegetables. I usually look at what haven't I eaten in a while when I go to the store and I try and bring that home. Like, haven't had a grapefruit this week? I'm bringing a grapefruit home. And so just
you're like that. She's perfect, huh?
Everything.
I mean, seriously, when you're saying all the things that we are always encouraging people to do.
It's so freeing to just go to the grocery store and just, okay, well, I'm going to have this. And I even I found these Greek yogurt, frozen bars I told you about. They're 100 calories. They're super yummy.
I think I've heard of those.
I think it's Yasso or something.
I have a client in New York that loves those.
They're so good.
Yeah.
So
they're called
good.
Yasso?
Yeah, the Yasso. I sent you a picture of it.
Okay.
But they're great. 100 calories, perfect. A perfect little sweet snack, without it being. But I mean, on my boost meal days, I'll have cake or cheesecake and have a burger and I make those the fun ones where I kind of mix it up a little bit. But I eat everything. I don't eat tomatoes. So I know I wish I did. I always laugh when you're like, please don't make comments. If you don't eat this kind of stuff, it cracks me up. Because well, you gotta give your 2 cents. You don't eat it, who cares?
Exactly.
But I my husband, he's always dying. You should just eat tomatoes. I don't like them. Who cares? I eat all these other foods and I grew up on a farm, meat and potatoes. Mom made casseroles. Very limited, and so my food has grown so much since I was a kid. But just the variety, and I mean, I love sourdough toast and rice and quinoa, and I'm not super creative when I cook. I don't mind just having the simple here's my salmon and my veggies and my quinoa or whatever. I don't have to have these elaborate meals, but I'll make chicken fajitas and have beans and stuff with it, and sometimes I'll have a tortilla and sometimes I won't, but
nice.
So what do you guys think of people who are quick to interject Like, for instance, let's say that you're talking to someone, you go, oh, yeah, I had a great meal last night. I had chicken, asparagus, and some quinoa. And they go, yeah, I don't eat quinoa. That's
perfect. Have some rice.
But you know,
don't eat it.
Yeah, you have people going, yeah, see, that wouldn't work for me.
Yes, I have.
Because I don't eat that.
All right. Or right when you just say a certain meat, chicken, well, I don't do that.
I don't eat red meat.
No one said
don't
you
eat red
have-
meat then.
Yes.
That's what I tell people. Like, when they tell me stuff like that, I'm like, then don't eat it.
Yeah.
Find something else. Like, you're missing the point. It's just a protein. Like, make your own protein then. That's the beauty of this program is like, who cares what protein you eat? Just pick a protein.
But there's a mindset. It says a lot about where that person is.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're quick. They're working hard to talk themselves out of possibly doing something like this.
True.
Absolutely.
So they're only going to see what they don't like.
Yeah. And that's where you get to the point where you're just like, I'm not here to convince you about anything.
You're not ready to be here. So come back when you're ready. I mean, because you can't choose for them. You can't make somebody, especially over the phone, you can't force a grown person to do what you want them to do. They have to choose. You have to choose. And it's challenging some days. Like, I'm like, what's in the fridge? Okay. And pull some stuff together. But some days you don't feel creative and you don't feel like, you want to do it. But at the end of the day, like, okay, well, here's 2 turkey sausages and an English sourdough English muffin. I'm out the door.
Right.
Like, I did it,
Right.
Same. Yeah.
It wasn't pretty, but I'm out the door.
I mean, I've done that too.
My food all the time because it's not pretty, but it did the job.
Yes. Right. It's like, wow, this isn't the prettiest meal, but hey, like exactly, it hits all the categories, and I'm good.
But I've had to change my relationship with food. So my mom always fed us like it was just like a comfort, and food's always been like the center of everything. Like, she always entertained, and there was always food, and we always had people over, and I've had to change like some of my relationship with food, because that's how we celebrate. Like, we're just gonna party it up, and we're just gonna eat till we can't, or we're gonna go out to a really nice dinner, and we're gonna splurge. And so again, I've had enough of those, and there's a time and a place for those, some of those special occasions once in a while. Like, I won't ever just say I'm never going to have a meal like that or overeat. I may down the road, but to get back on to how I know to eat right is, I can do that. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's food has been the center of my whole life as far as like we're having a great old time. We're partying it up. We're just eating everything. This is great, so you gotta, you have to evaluate like what's important too. Mm-hmm. You want to feel good or you not want to feel good. So
yeah. Or just find
ways.
Have
like some of those things like in smaller portions and different combinations. So, and you have to make your choice. Like, okay, am I going to have the macaroni? Am I going to have the pasta? Like,
exactly.
One of them.
So yeah,
that moment.
So you sounds familiar because my mom's Italian, my dad's Filipino. Mm-hmm. We get these family gatherings. The food's out. And it's just, there's a ton of food and it's out for hours and hours and hours. And it would be really easy to just mow through everything. And yeah, there's been an adjustment as far as, okay, well, I know that if I'm going to have my meal this time, sure as hell going to be food around, in 2.5, 3 hours later, I can have a snack or maybe another meal, just depending on how the day falls. And really it's just a slight shift in how you're thinking about it. It's like, it's not that I can't enjoy going to my mom and dad's, like I can't go, but it's just like you said, it's a little bit of an adjustment on how I'm going to just enjoy my food that day.
Yeah.
So where do you guys feel education, right? Because you're both educated. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that education is, because a lot of people aren't talking the way you guys are talking. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the way you're explaining it and being in control, I can go there. I know how to like map it out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can pace myself, and you're mindful of that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, they're like, oh, see, I can never do that. Oh, I mean, I can't imagine going there and not eating the mac and cheese with the mashed potatoes, with the bread and the fried fish. And, I want those yams with the sugar sprinkled all over them. Mm-hmm. And then I want that pudding. And you know what? I got to eat it all at the same time.
Well, I mean, they're right. If you start with I can't, you've already set yourself up.
Yeah. I don't think it has anything really to do with like the education level. I think it's almost like that mindset. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of going in, and maybe it's because they've had so much failure in the past that they're already just anticipating that there's no way they can do any differently than what they've already done.
Yeah, well, you know that when they say, look, can I start on Monday? Because because they're like, okay, I know what I'm going to do Saturday and Sunday. Because it's like the last meal. I want to go have my last supper before I go into a deprivation and I can't eat what I want.
I've been there so many times. So many times. Yeah.
I've had some of my most successful clients they had been so fed up. They started right around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and they impressed themselves that they were able to go through the holidays all the way through New Year and then beyond and lose weight and body fat. And they, like I said, they impressed themselves because they never would have guessed that they could do that.
Yeah.
And so now they're like the biggest advocates for saying, like, exactly like you said, that there's no perfect time. Just start.
Just start.
Just start.
Wherever you're at. Just start. Start. You know, and I follow the Facebook group and I see people on there and they're like, okay, there's my first meal. How'd I do? You know, and part of me is like, oh, well, I want to tell them like what to do. And then part of me is like, well, that's not my job to tell them what to do. You know, like I don't want to criticize, but you see, there's like things like good for them. They started, but there's things that they should shift and change. And, you know, and I'm sure they will but to criticize them out the gates doesn't help them, you know?
Right.
So to criticize people along their journey and put them down doesn't help. But
see,
like
there's
to
that positive
them,
attitude she has again.
encourage them right where they're at. Great job. Like I see you got a protein in there and slow carb, but just remember that one still is a fast carb. Like that oatmeal. It's still fast carb.
No, oatmeal.
Oatmeal is not a fast carb.
She was telling me.
I was in Mississippi and we were going through the Delta and we went to this place for like home style buffet, and I'm in the line and you know some of the other teachers, because it was a teaching event. I was a keynote speaker and we had like all the superintendent, everybody was there.
Poor guy, all these teachers.
And so I'm in the line and I'm explaining to someone how to make a fat burning meal. And I said, okay, so I want to, let me get that chicken. That's my protein. I'm talking to him, protein. And then, you know, I am really craving a baked potato. Can I get that baked potato? Now, that's a fast carb. And can I get some black-eyed peas? And I was like, black-eyed peas. Because I love some black-eyed peas.
Clearly.
And I said, and that's a slow carb. And this black lady who was serving the food, she goes, oh, nah, sweetheart. That is not a fast carb. I said, excuse me? She goes, look, black-eyed peas are really high in starch. That's a fast carb. And I go, okay.
Well, how are you going to fight them right there in that moment? Sometimes you just got to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, she got in my whole conversation. I'm like, how did you just jump in my conversation?
Here I am teaching people how to put food
in the
right combination.
So she was serving you.
Yeah, it's like, you know how you're going down, they say, what else would you like? And
she's going to be like this.
Probably. But I'll never forget that. I was like,
that is so funny.
But people love to jump in and give their 2 cents, which is cool. And, you know, you pick your fights, right?
I always say, like, that's enough from the peanut gallery. Like, you don't need to put your 2 cents in all the time. Like, I don't need your I tell my children that all the time. Enough from the peanut gallery. I don't need your 2 cents. I didn't ask for them.
All right, where's that toothpaste?
Where's that toothpaste?
Oh, I know. I like that.
So we have about 10 minutes. So I want to do some rapid fire with you.
Oh, gosh.
So rapid fire.
Quizzes. No.
Oatmeal.
I'm going to fail this part.
So Barbara and I are going to ask you questions. And what I would love to do is ask questions where people can hear your answer, but they can learn from it.
Okay.
So my first question for you is, of all the days of eating breakfast, what is your go-to breakfast right now that's a fat-burning meal?
My go-to breakfast is scrambled eggs with probably mushrooms and onions in it, and then some turkey sausage on the side. And then if I feel like having a fast carb, then I'll have a sourdough English muffin, a little bit of jam on top.
Yummy.
That's like my like go-to. Sometimes I have that for lunch.
Nice.
I'm like, I don't know what to make right now. I'm gonna have some eggs.
now it's interesting when you were saying that with the English muffin and the eggs and all of that. Many people are like, wait a minute, I don't. That's a lot. How is she going to lose weight eating that much food?
Sometimes I'm hungry after I eat. My body sometimes is working so good that, like, I've told you before, like an hour after I eat, I'm like, I'm hungry again. So,
well, that's because of how you train.
Yeah.
I mean, you go for it. I mean, if you're doing CrossFit and hitting it the way she's hitting it, your metabolism is so revved up that hunger is a good sign also.
Yeah.
Especially after
you told me that. You're like, if you're hungry, that means your body's metabolizing the food and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So.
And your metabolic rate, which means the amount of calories you're burning, isn't down, it's actually up. And that is a very positive thing.
Keep drinking your water. Keep drinking your water.
Yeah. You've got would you say your pool?
But yeah, I got my swimming pool with me.
Yeah. So my question. Okay. So this is good for a lot of, even some of my clients who might be listening in. But if you were to share something about how you shifted, let's say, your overall schedule throughout the day to make you more successful, what were some of those key changes that you did to your schedule that really helped you stay successful in the long run?
Honestly, I didn't really switch my schedule. I just fit into, like, so when I get up in the morning and I have my coffee and get my kids going, and then I make my breakfast and then move on. And then I just make sure that, because I write everything down too, it like makes me accountable to those different times I eat during the day. So really, I mean, writing everything down, but scheduling it in, I haven't had to switch my schedule. I work from home. So really I just have to consciously remember, like, I need to eat. So I just have to make sure that I'm in the beginning, I could set an alarm to tell me to, like, eat like at certain times. But sometimes, like before, I would, I don't have time to eat lunch right now. But now I'm like, okay, what do I have time to eat? I have to eat. So what is, make time for? What can I put in my stomach right now? So, but not really. I haven't had to shift my schedule.
But it sounds like maybe you kind of created, like you had it written down, like as far as
I write all my food down 3 times a day, plus my snacks, and I keep track of my water. So, and then if I work out that day, I track my workout. So I just have it like in just a journal. So yeah, I mean, tracking everything, but not super detailed, like I told you. Like I'm literally like chicken scratch sometimes, just like I didn't get it written down today. It's like the end of the day or the next day, and I'm like, what did I eat yesterday?
But you do it.
It's very diligent. Consistent. Yes, very consistent. Consistency is key. Like making sure
journaling.
Journaling is probably the thing that I put in to place that,
absolutely
conscious. But
it's a good one.
I did not have to switch my schedule around as far as my lifestyle.
So as part of what you're doing, does a person have to journal?
No, not at all. I don't think so. I mean, if you can keep track of it in your mind and you're accountable, it helps me because when you write it on paper, like I'm less likely to sneak a couple things in there throughout the day that shouldn't be, in there, or like the timing wise, if it's not my snack time, like just snacking on the crust of my kids' bread as I'm cutting, like eating those extra things because I know I'm going to write it down. I don't want to write those down. Ate my children's crust from their bread. So I'm throwing them to the dog.
I bring that up because I have always been an advocate of journaling. It is so powerful.
It is very powerful, but you said, do you have to?
Right, no.
And you don't, but it's extremely powerful. I still have my journal from 14 years ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I used that 3 years ago when my husband and I went back to the diet-free lifestyle. I made copies of a couple of the extra pages, and I made each of us one where I wrote it all down. And so it's really detailed, though. Like, it has all the calories and everything. So I didn't do all that, but I had like proportions and wrote those things down.
Yeah.
And so, but I've used it into the future.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember I had a client, Gloria Tracy. Not sure where she's at, but she was amazing. Gloria, I'll never forget. We were getting ready to do the first infomercial, and I said, "Hey, bring in your journals." So I'm thinking your journal. She came in, man. She had a box of journals.
Of all the journaling she's done.
Yeah, and she was a woman who used to be like a counselor for Jenny Craig.
Oh, okay.
She had done every diet you could possibly think of. And when she was in her late 60s, I'll never forget it, sitting in front of her, and she says, "Robert, I don't even know why I'm here." And I go, like, "Why would you say that?" She goes, "Well, you said something," and she heard me do a talk in Camarillo. And she said, "You were talking about how you can rev up or reset your metabolism." And I was like, "Tell me more." And Gloria became a very successful client, but her main thing that would be her success was journaling. She journaled like religiously.
Yep.
And I totally agree with that.
And some people have those apps and they like take the pictures of the food all day long and they use those. That doesn't fit my lifestyle. I can't even remember to take pictures sometimes when I'm supposed to send you my boost meal. I'm like, oh crud, I just ate that. I forgot to send that picture. I mean, like that doesn't work for me, but it works for other people. And that's like a different type of, journaling and that accountability. So I think it's that accountability piece.
Okay. So I have one more question for you from my side. So is there anyone that comes to mind that you know well and they would enjoy doing what you've done, but you haven't asked them to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to one of my talking slowly to. I don't like to put things on people that aren't ready. So I've been sharing with one of my friends. Actually, she's one of my teachers. I've been sharing with her the simplicity and like that because she's super active and I think it would work really well for her. So she's not quite ready yet, but she's like,
I see
we were
what
on
you're
the phone
doing.
last night. I'm like,
so I see you.
And I don't see everybody all the time, so they haven't seen me. So some of my teachers haven't seen me in a while, and I haven't seen her. But I was telling her, and she was like, okay, Carin, and she's in her mid 50s, so I think I've got her like, right where she wants to hear a little bit more. But I'm not gonna be like, here you go, here's all this stuff you should read, and then my mother-in-law's right there. So I was just talking to her before I came over here today. So
now, do you know Chris, right, who I had on the show? Mm-mm. He's the athletic director for Rio Mesa.
I don't know him personally. Okay. No, I saw his interview, but I don't know him.
I only ask because you're an educator. They're both from Ventura County.
Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't been an educator here for a long time. And I was in Oxnard, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
The NARD.
Yep. Oxnard Unified for 7 years.
Yeah. That's right. Well, I have one more for you. Sure. So you had great success so far. So what would you say she was 26 pounds down?
Almost.
So what is your next goal, do you want to say? And what's next?
Well, my first goal is to get down 30 pounds. So I'm
you're almost
really
there.
close. And so if I get down 30 pounds, I'll be where I was 3 years ago. My goal was 40 by 40.
Nice.
And so if I got a couple more to lose and I'll be at my first goal, but I'm really going to try for 50 pounds.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's what I'm going to try for. So that's where I'm working for. Or I'm not going to try for, I'm going to get to.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's giving me the stink eye.
No.
Right.
She's using that word try again. She always says try when we're on the phone.
Actually, you don't say try.
I do. Like, I tell you I'm trying to. And then you're like, you're not trying. You are doing it.
I will put money on when your friends, especially your lady friends or the other teachers, other administrators, they see you, they're going to be like, girl, what are you doing? Because I will share with you too, even some of my clients who've had some great success because they've been working, a lot of them have been working from home too, and they finally go out to have these meetings with their groups, and these people come up to them and they're like, what the hell are you doing? Look great. It's been a good thing, references to other clients because of, my existing clients' success. And so you're a great, what's the word I'm looking for? Billboard for success. So
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see someone who appears to be better off after COVID than to continue to run into people. You go, hey, and you're like, wow, haven't seen you in a while.
Well, that's where I was at when I called you.
Right. I mean, and you see the face too, they go, hey. I go, hey.
What was that? The face?
Yeah, look, you go.
The face got bigger?
Wow. Yeah, it just kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, no.
It happens. We were all in survival mode, and it shows you like what you're willing to give up in order to, keep together emotionally. It was hard for people. Like, people are going to be seriously traumatized. Like, there's going to be PTSD from this.
Oh, absolutely.
There's people that are terrified still to go out, and there's just going to be a whole range. I mean, we've seen it with kids and teenagers, and like, there's just a whole range. But when you're met with a crisis, we go into survival mode, and it's maybe not always the best thing for us, and to know that we can come out of it and better ourselves, because that's where I was at, like looking at myself in the mirror, like, whose face is that? Like, and I already have a naturally round face. I've been called a Cabbage Patch Kid my whole life. Like, naturally, like, that's where my round face is. I've never had like a cut jaw or anything. So like, you know, looking at himself in the mirror. I'm like, how many chins do I have? You know, like, and that, so it's eye-opening. Like, how do I change that? And so,
I mean, you've shared
come
with
out.
me some really, like, she's helped me a lot, even with my kids, just having the chance to have a conversation.
Oh, nice.
And I totally agree with you about the PTSD, because the other day I was in the store and there's more people out.
For sure.
And some people are just right up on you, right? Whereas
It's a little
I
weird.
would be okay with them, like, but it made me feel uncomfortable. It's like I wanted to say, you know,
Back it up.
Can you back it up a little bit? Because it did. It was like, wow, this is like weird. Like,
not
give me
used to
some
it.
space.
Yeah.
And you know, even with the cars, I'm just like, man, I actually liked getting on the road and not having that much traffic.
That's for sure.
Ventura in general is just blown up since in the last
Oh,
10,
I'm sure.
15 years.
Especially
Oh,
for
yeah.
you, since you come out, 'cause you never
I live
come
in
out
like
here.
a small little town, like
Yeah.
wave to your neighbors, like, you know.
Right.
So yeah,
Aw.
it is overwhelming to come back and visit and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people don't know how to drive.
Why they're all
I should have brought
tense.
my big old truck and just
Go over people.
run over them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what was that movie I watched with? Was it Crow? When he's in the car and
Oh, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe,
Like
man.
something breakdown or what was it?
oh yeah, you got to watch this.
It's when he has
movie,
like a
He loses
mental
it.
breakdown. I
Yeah.
never watched it.
Oh whoa!
I
Like, my kids, like, when your kids aren't on their phone and they're like, and we all were like, it was intense because he lost it. He had a bad day, and then this woman, you know, had a bad day, and
They
he
had a
was
bad day
"No,
together."
your day's not bad, ma'am. You need to apologize." And it all was that. It was rage, like road rage.
Yeah.
The whole movie is based on him losing his mind, and then this woman who he wanted to prove a lesson to.
Whoa.
Wow.
So just
No,
look
no,
it up,
yeah,
people.
no.
Russell Crowe. You can rent it. You can watch it.
Be nice.
If you want to be entertained, then check it out. But thank
Isn't
you.
that indicative of his actual demeanor? Isn't he the guy that like had a fit with a phone in a hotel room?
Is that him?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
it him?
I believe so.
I think he has a bad temper, so maybe that was just a great role for him.
Well, it wouldn't be like Adam Sandler. Like I could see him losing it, but he's funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
God,
God,
and
is
he did
funny.
have that funny movie. It was called Anger Management. Was it
Oh, that was hilarious.
Oh, Adam Sandler.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
he's really not. He's really not.
I love that
angry.
movie.
Yeah, it's
I watched
really
the
good.
beginning, just the airport, like when they're in the
Oh,
plane.
the airplane.
Yeah, when they were like,
I would
"Sir,
have it.
you need to like."
You
He
need
goes,
to
"I'm not yelling."
Oh my gosh, that would do me in too.
And then
like
the big black guy comes over. He goes, "Sir,
You need to
we're gonna have to
chill.
take you off the plane." What's with? And then they like
Tase him.
taste.
Oh my god, he does such a good job at that movie. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, because you also had in that movie, amazing actor, Shining, goes to the Lakers games.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson. Remember, he plays his psychologist.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're angry.
Yeah, that's right.
You are angry.
But anyway, thank you for making
know.
time to come in
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
'Cause I
Thank
know
you so
you-
much.
Much. Yeah, it was so nice to meet
And it
you.
wasn't that
to meet you.
difficult, was it?
No, it was totally fine.
Yeah. See, it's all
totally
good.
Yeah.
Any last words you would have for anyone who's, you know, not like we're trying to twist anyone's arm to
Right.
do Diet Free Life, but we are on a mission to get the word out, and that's to like encourage and help people. And the only way we can help them is if they come in the tent.
Yeah, today's the day. Make it today. You know, this is the day. Don't wait. Don't wait to start, even if it has to be baby steps. Choose it now.